Imagine discovering that your best friend, the person you trusted most in the world, spent 15 years secretly sabotaging every happy moment of your life. Marina thought she knew Helena since they were teenagers. They shared secrets, dreams, and tears together. But on her wedding day, an anonymous phone call would reveal the most shocking truth she could ever imagine. The woman who had always been by her side during difficult times was actually the architect of all her tragedies. This is a story of betrayal, revenge, and justice that came in the most unexpected way. Marina always believed that some friendships were meant to last forever. Lena had been her best friend since they were 17 when they met at SAT prep classes. Two middle-class girls dreaming of a bright future, sharing snacks and secrets during class breaks. Throughout the years, Helena was always present during Marina's most important moments. When Marina got her first job, Helena celebrated with her. When Marina fell in love with Ricardo at work, Helena would listen to hours of stories about their romance. And when Marina's relationships ended in inexplicably painful ways, it was Helena who offered a shoulder to cry on and the right advice. "You deserve someone better," Helena would say, stroking Marina's hair while she cried over another breakup. These men don't know how to recognize an incredible woman when they see one. Marina trusted Helena so much that she even lent her money several times when her friend was going through financial difficulties. These were significant amounts for her budget, but she never hesitated. After all, Helena would do the same for her, wouldn't she? Years passed, and a strange pattern began to form in Marina's life. Every time something good was about to happen, something would go wrong inexplicably. The promotion that seemed certain was canceled at the last minute. The dream apartment she was about to buy was sold to someone else without explanation. Relationships that started promisingly would end abruptly, always with the men claiming they had discovered things about her that bothered them. Marina even went to therapy, thinking there was something wrong with her. Was she unlucky? Was she unconsciously sabotaging her own happiness? The psychologist tried to help her understand the patterns, but nothing made sense. At 35, Marina met Carlos at a work event. He was different from the others, more mature, more centered. The relationship flourished naturally, and for the first time in years, Marina felt truly happy. Helena, as always, showed total support. "You finally found someone who deserves you," Helena would say, always present in conversations about the relationship. "He seems to be the man of your life." When Carlos proposed to Marina after 2 years of dating, Helena was the first person she called to share the news. She cried with emotion over the phone, immediately offering to help with all the wedding preparations. During the months of preparation, Helena proved to be a dedicated maid of honor. She helped choose the dress, organized the bridal shower, took care of details Marina didn't even imagine needed to be thought about. She was the perfect friend for such a special moment. The big day finally arrived. Marina woke up radiant, surrounded by her bridesmaids at the hotel where she would get ready for the wedding. Helena was there, as always, helping with the hairstyle, organizing the flowers, making sure everything went perfectly. It was just 2 hours before the ceremony when Marina's phone rang. Unknown number. Hello? Marina answered distractedly while the makeup artist was finishing the final touches. Marina, you need to know something before you get married. It was a female voice she didn't recognize. Excuse me, but today is my wedding, and ... That's exactly why I'm calling your best friend, Helena. She's not who you think she is. Marina felt her stomach freeze. She looked at Helena, who was organizing the wedding rings on the dresser, oblivious to the phone conversation. What are you talking about? She destroyed all your relationships. She told lies about you to your boyfriends. She was the one who made you lose that promotion 3 years ago, sending anonymous emails to your boss saying you talked badly about the company. She ... This is absurd. Who are you? Why are you making these things up? I'm a former employee of the company where Helena works. She told me everything when she was drunk at a company party. She said she did it because you always had everything she wanted: beauty, intelligence, opportunities. She's been jealous of you for 15 years, Marina. The call ended. Marina stood paralyzed, looking at Helena through the mirror, her mind trying to process what she had just heard. Marina hung up the phone with trembling hands. Her heart was beating so hard she could hear it in her ears. She looked at Helena again through the mirror, who continued organizing the wedding details with a serene smile on her face. Who was that, Mari? I hope it's nothing urgent. You need to stay calm today, Helena said, approaching with the veil in her hands. It was a wrong number, Marina lied, trying to keep her voice steady. Her mind was buzzing with the words of the unknown woman. Could it be possible? Alina, her best friend of 15 years, could have done all those terrible things. But the more Marina thought about it, the more pieces began to fit together. Helena always knew intimate details about her relationships because Marina told her everything. Helena had access to her social media, knew where she worked, knew her colleagues, and always was present when things went wrong, ready to comfort and support. Helena, Marina began cautiously. Do you remember Marcelo? That guy I dated 3 years ago. Helena stopped arranging the veil and looked at Marina through the mirror. For a split second, Marina saw something different in her eyes, an almost imperceptible tension. Of course, I remember. Why are you thinking about him today? It's your special day, Mari. He broke up with me, saying he had discovered that I talked badly about him to other people. But I never did that. I never understood where he got that idea from. Helena shrugged, but Marina noticed her hands trembled slightly as she adjusted the veil. Men are strange, Mari. Sometimes they make up lame excuses to break up. You know you're better off without him. Marina decided to test another situation, and that promotion at the advertising agency. The director said he had received concerning information about my professional conduct. I never knew what information that was. This time, Helena took longer to respond. She turned slowly to face Marina directly. Why are you bringing up these old things today? Your wedding is in an hour. Answer the question, Helena. The silence stretched for long seconds. Marina could see the other bridesmaids chatting in the corner of the room, oblivious to the tension that had settled between the two friends. Marina, you're nervous. It's normal to be anxious on your wedding day. Let's focus on what matters now. But Marina wasn't going to give up. 15 years of blind trust were being questioned, and she needed answers. The woman who called said you work at the same company as her. She said you told everything when you were drunk at a party. Helena's face visibly paled. She stepped away from Marina, her hands gripping the fabric of her own bridesmaid dress. What woman? What are you talking about? You know exactly what I'm talking about. Marina's voice was firmer now, anger beginning to replace the initial shock. 15 years, Helena. 15 years destroying my life. Why? Helena tried to maintain her composure, but Marina could see she was crumbling inside. Marina, you're delusional. Pre-wedding stress. Let's take a deep breath and ... Stop lying. Marina shouted, making all the other women in the room turn to look at them. I trusted you more than anyone in this world. You were my sister, Helena, my family. Tears began to stream down Marina's carefully made-up face, but she didn't care. All my relationships that you destroyed. All the opportunities you sabotaged. Why? What did I do so terrible to deserve this? Helena looked around and saw that all the bridesmaids were watching the scene in shock. Her mask of the perfect friend was falling irreversibly. You want to know why? Alina finally spoke, her voice coming out low and venomous. Because you always had everything. You were always the pretty one, the smart one, the one everyone wanted. And me, I was always the ordinary friend by your side. Marina felt like she had been punched in the stomach. So you decided to destroy my life out of jealousy. I decided to show you what it's like not to always have things your way. What it's like to be rejected, humiliated, to see dreams crumble. The room fell into absolute silence. 15 years of friendship had just been revealed as 15 years of manipulation and sabotage. Marina looked at Helena as if she were seeing a stranger. The woman in front of her had shared her most intimate secrets, dried her tears, celebrated her achievements, all while secretly working to destroy her. You know what the most ironic part of all this is? Marina said, her voice gaining a strength she didn't know she possessed. You thought you were destroying me, but you were actually making me stronger. Kalina frowned, confused by the change in Marina's tone. Every relationship you sabotaged taught me to value myself more. Every lost opportunity led me to look for even better things. You thought you were hurting me, but you were preparing me to recognize true love when it appeared. Marina looked out the window and saw Carlos outside the church, nervously adjusting his tie while greeting the guests. Carlos is different from all the others because he met me when I had already learned to value myself. When I already knew I deserved to be treated with respect and true love. Helena tried to interrupt, but Marina continued. And you know what else? That woman who called me wasn't a stranger. It was Clara from the accounting department at your company. She is my manicurist's cousin and discovered the connection when she heard you bragging about your successes at the year-end party. Helena's face turned livid. She didn't expect Marina to discover the source of the tip. Clara recorded your confession that night, Helena. She has everything documented. Every relationship you destroyed, every lie you spread, every sabotage you orchestrated. Marina opened her purse and took out her phone. And now she's downstairs, waiting to hand all of this over to the police. Because what you did wasn't just cruelty between friends. It was moral harassment, defamation, malicious interference in work contracts, crimes that have names and punishments. Helena tried to approach Marina, but she backed away. Mari, please. We can work this out. I was having psychological problems. I can get therapy. I can... double quotes. 15 years, Helena. Coup. You had 15 years to get therapy, to solve your problems, to be a real friend. Marina walked to the window and waved to Clara, who was standing next to a plainclothes police officer, a friend of Carlos's family who had offered to handle the situation discreetly. You know what's going to be the hardest part of all this? Marina turned to face Helena one last time. It won't be getting over the betrayal. It will be explaining to my mother, who considered you a daughter, that you spent 15 years deceiving our entire family. The other bridesmaids quietly left the room when the officer came up to talk to Helena. Marina asked for a few minutes alone to compose herself. She looked at her reflection in the mirror. The dress was perfect. The makeup was still flawless, despite the tears. And for the first time in years, she felt completely free. 15 minutes later, Marina walked down the church stairs. Carlos was waiting for her at the altar, unaware of all the drama that had happened behind the scenes. She decided she would tell him everything during their honeymoon. As she walked down the aisle to the sound of the wedding march, Marina saw Helena being discreetly escorted out of the church through the back. Their eyes met for one last second, and Marina saw something she had never seen in her former friend's eyes. Genuine regret, but it was too late. The wedding was beautiful. Marina had never felt so radiant, so complete, so surrounded by true love. Discovering the truth about Helena, as painful as it had been, had freed a weight she had been carrying for years without even realizing it. 6 months later, Helena was sentenced to community service and ordered to pay compensation for moral damages. She moved to another city soon after the trial. Marina and Carlos bought their dream house, a house that Helena never managed to sabotage, because Marina never mentioned her interest until everything was signed. Sometimes Marina wonders if Helena really learned anything from this whole experience. But one thing she knows for sure: some people come into our lives as blessings, others as lessons, and some, like Helena, come as both. The sweetest revenge Marina had was simply being happy. Completely, authentically happy. This story makes us reflect on the importance of trusting our instincts and not ignoring the strange patterns that sometimes appear in our lives. How many times do we fail to question situations, thinking it's just bad luck or coincidence? Marina discovered that her greatest strength lay precisely in her ability to overcome adversities that she did unknow were artificial. Imagine how resilient she was to survive 15 years of sabotage and still maintain the capacity to love and trust. And you, have you ever been through a situation where you discovered that someone close was who you thought they were? If this story touched you in any way, please like this video, subscribe to the channel for more exciting stories like this one, and tell us in the comments, what city or country are you watching from? We love knowing where our followers are spread around the world. See you in the next story.